Permission to begin? What we see today is that a lot of countries, a lot of states are moving towards developmental projects that are funded through open sources. Now, this is despite the fact that there are taxes still being used, despite the fact that there still is foreign direct investment being used, they're employing such tactics in order to A, make their projects more efficient, and B, allow for the citizens of that state to be directly involved in such projects. And the fact that they are allowing for this to happen is allowing for more projects that are more efficient. It's allowing for projects and distribution of money to projects that actually matter to the citizens themselves, and not just the economic position or the demographic position of a country or a state. Now, we must make clear that taxes are still going to be used. Taxes and foreign direct investment are still being employed. Taxes are being employed in other spheres, such as the defense of the country or other developmental projects where infrastructure is required. However, we believe that such developmental projects, in particular humanitarian projects, are what's required and where open source funding is completely justified. And this includes vaccination programs, water sanitation programs, and etc. Now, open source funding we define as a practice of funding a project or venture by raising sums of money from a large group of people, in this case being the citizens of a country. With that, we're going to have two lines of arguments. The first one being empowerment of the citizens of the state. Our second one being efficiency of the projects. Rafael is going to talk about economic scarcity. Now, empowerment of the people of the state. The first thing we need to understand is the fact that when a government decides that they want to carry out a project or go through with the project, they do it on the basis of what their people need. Right? It's on the basis of what their people require and what their people want. That are the tenets on which democracy and as well as such projects work. Developmental projects are done for the people. Now, what we're seeing today is the fact that these people are completely separated and marginalized from such projects because they're told that, yes, come pay your taxes and then leave the rest to the government. The government is going to take care of all of the other aspects of the projects that are necessary. However, with the fact that the people are directly contributing and know where their contributions are going, they're going to be more involved in the projects themselves. Not only that, but it's going to allow for transparency of the projects. 20% of corruption is prevented, and there's a decline in 20% of the corruption with public monitoring, and that is what such projects and such sourcing allows, because the people themselves are taking part in such projects. They themselves are deciding what projects are needed. Now, another thing we need to understand is the fact that humanitarian projects themselves are something that people need. Right now, the state is going to be investing more in areas and spheres of their state where they're going to have direct returns, right? Where they're going to have fast returns. Humanitarian projects don't have that, and that is when the humanitarian needs and the requirements of the community and the people are taken for granted and aren't catered to. With this, the people themselves are going to be asking for humanitarian projects to take place, and no government is going to be denying those from taking place by saying that we don't have the source funding for that, or we have to put this funding into other spheres, such as the defense. Now, moving on to our second line of argument, the efficiency of projects. Now, the first thing we need to understand, despite the fact that we've already talked about the corruption that's going to decrease, which means that the money that these governments attain is going to go directly into these projects and not going to be given out to places that aren't given back to themselves. We need to understand that it also acts as a performance indicator for the government. Now, these people are going to determine themselves where they want their fundings to be employed, right? Please sit down. They're going to determine which projects they want to contribute and fund. Now, this allows for the government to realize what the people need themselves. It allows for the government to understand. It allows for the government to understand that it is in these areas that these funds are being neglected. For example, if you take a country which has really underdeveloped areas and areas that aren't given a lot of attention to. Now, humanitarian problems there are going to be neglected completely, right? There's not going to be any appliances medically. There's not going to be any form of vaccination or any form of water sanitation, and generally their lifestyle is going to be poor. When these people say that, when these people start contributing to such projects, then then the government is going to know that it is in fact such projects that need to be prioritized. And in this way, it allows for the government to work more efficiently. Now, not everyone will be willing to provide the funding. Not everyone is going to be able to contribute. However, we're still going to have even a part of society that's contributing, and that allows for the government to say that this is what is needed. Now, we must also understand that such projects are usually not tangible. That such projects, humanitarian projects, aren't seen visibly, right? With development projects that are based on infrastructure such as road building or building of dams, you see that there's a dam. You see that you're going to have water. But with projects like these, you don't have that source of tangibility, which allows for the government to take away from projects such as these. However, with open source funding, these people are going to know exactly how their such aspects of society are being developed and how the government is using these funds.